use, including a continuation pattern, a reversal pattern, and a candlestick pattern that I use all the time to make profit. All right, I'm also going to share what ratio I use for my risk to reward, and it's something that I teach my members and can make all the difference in the world. And lastly, this is the way that you can double your profit on one setup without increasing the risk for that setup. And again, it may sound too good to be true, but I assure you that myself and my members are doing this all the time. And if you have questions along the way, feel free to type them in on the side, but I'm also going to include a Q&A session at the very end of this where I'm going to spend about 15 to 20 minutes answering as many questions as possible. As you can see, we've got a lot to cover today, so I do want to mention that this training runs for about 90 minutes. So if you don't have 90 minutes to devote to this training, I do suggest that you come back later because you're not going to want to miss any of these lessons. That's especially true for 6 and 7 because the combination of a favorable risk to reward ratio and the technique I'm going to show you in lesson 7 can literally make you profitable. So right now, if you're like breaking even or just kind of struggling just a little bit and you feel like you're on the verge of success, lessons 6 and 7 can put you over that edge and make you profitable. My promise to you is that by the end of this training, you will become a better trader, okay? If you really devote yourself and learn this stuff, you can start using it right now, today, to become better, all right? So my promise to you is that for the next 90 minutes, I'm gonna provide free content to you that is actionable that you can start using right away. And I also have a special offer and several bonuses that are available through this webinar only. So if you stick it out and stay to the end, I've got some bonuses that you're gonna wanna see. In fact, one of those bonuses I have never given away before. And until today, I'm the only one who's ever seen it. And that particular bonus has taken me almost 10 years to develop. So you're not gonna wanna miss it. And the only thing I ask of you is that by the end of this training, you take at least one of these lessons, one of these tactics, and implement it into your trading. And I guarantee that you will see results. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the first topic. And the first thing I wanna talk about is ditching the indicators. So what that means is we're gonna get rid of every indicator on your chart. And this is really gonna set you up for the rest of this webinar. So it's gonna set the foundation for you to be able to trade price action. All right, so this may be a little bit basic for some of you, but just hang with me because I promise you that later lessons are gonna get into some more advanced topics. And this section is really gonna make your chart easier to read. All right, so there's this common misconception that you need indicators to become profitable. Well, guess what? You don't need indicators to become profitable in this business, and I'm proof of that. When I entered the market back in 2007, I thought that my job was to find this magical combination of indicators, such as the RSI or the MACD, that was gonna make me millions of dollars. I thought that's just what I was supposed to do. And that's really not the case. Now, for me, there is one exception, two in fact, and that is that I use the 10 and 20 exponential moving averages as a mean reversion tool. I'll cover that in a moment, but I do want to just mention that there's nothing special about the 10 and 20 EMAs. It's just what I found to work the best. Okay, so you can experiment with an 8 and a 15 or a 12 and a 25. It doesn't really matter, but I found that the 10 and 20 work pretty well in any market. All right, so let's talk about mean reversion really quick. And this is really important because it prevents you from buying high and selling low. So mean reversion is this idea that prices always come back to an average in a trending market. And I'll show you an example in a moment, but this is where the 10 and 20 EMAs come in because I use them as a way to avoid buying high and selling low, right? Because we want to do the opposite. So I'll show you an example in a moment, but first I want to run through some of my chart settings. All right, so in MetaTrader, and if you use a different platform, that's perfectly fine. You'll just have to check with your broker to figure out how to change these settings on your platform. But in MetaTrader, if you right click on a chart and go to the Properties tab, or select Properties, and then go to the Colors tab, there's a really quick way to get the look that I have, and that is to go to Color Scheme and select Black on White. And what that's going to do is it's going to change all of these settings over here. All right, so that takes care of all of the colors on the chart. Now, as far as the grid and everything else, on the Common tab, if you select chart shift, select candlesticks, and show open, high, low, and close, and just make sure everything else is deselected. All right, now you can play around with these settings. This is just how I have my chart set up, and it works out really well for me. Okay, so next up, let me run you through the settings I have for the 10 and 20 exponential moving averages. And for the 10, the period here is going to be 10, and the method is exponential. And you can find, and I'll show you this in a moment, where you can find this within the MetaTrader platform. For the 20, obviously the method